I still remember the exact words my mother said before she slammed the front door in my face. "You're not my son anymore." Then she pointed at my younger brother and added something I'll never forget. "Unlike you, Ethan would never lie to us." The crazy part, Ethan was lying about everything. And by the time my parents finally realized it, they had already destroyed our family. I'm Ryan, I'm 17 years old, and this is how my golden child brother ruined everyone's lives, including his own. Growing up, my parents treated Ethan like he was some kind of miracle. He was 2 years younger than me, but somehow he could do no wrong. If he broke something, I got blamed. If he got in trouble at school, it was somehow my fault. If he wanted something that belonged to me, my parents would tell me to share, because I was the older brother. At first, I thought this was normal. Then I started realizing other families weren't like ours. My friends could actually defend themselves when they were accused of something. I couldn't, because in our house, Ethan's word was treated like absolute truth. The worst part? He figured that out very early. By middle school, he had turned lying into an art form. One day, he stole $50 from Mom's purse. I watched him do it. When Mom noticed the money was missing, Ethan immediately burst into tears. He told her he saw me near her purse. My parents didn't even ask for my side. I got grounded for 2 weeks. Ethan got ice cream because Mom felt bad that he had to tell the truth about his older brother. That became the pattern. Over and over and over again. Every time Ethan got caught doing something wrong, somehow I ended up taking the punishment. As the years passed, the lies became bigger. He lied about homework. He lied about teachers. He lied about friends. He lied about money. And every single time, my parents believed him. By the time I turned 17, I barely spoke to anyone at home. I spent most of my time working part-time at a grocery store after school. The store manager, Mr. Carter, became more of a father figure than my own dad. At least he listened when I spoke. One Friday evening, everything finally exploded. I came home from work and immediately knew something was wrong. Both of my parents were sitting in the living room. Ethan was crying. The second I walked in, Dad stood up. His face was bright red. "What did you do?" I had no idea what he was talking about. Before I could answer, Ethan held up his phone. There were screenshots, messages, supposedly from me. The messages showed someone threatening Ethan, insulting him, calling him names, even demanding money. The texts looked horrible, but there was one problem. I had never sent them, not a single one. "Ethan made those," I said. "Big mistake." Mom immediately started yelling. "Stop blaming your brother," I tried explaining. I showed them my phone. I showed them my message history. I pointed out inconsistencies. Nobody cared. Ethan started crying harder. Dad looked disgusted. Then Ethan delivered the final lie. He claimed I had been stealing money from him for months. He even produced a notebook where he had supposedly written down every missing dollar. Looking back now, I realize he planned everything. Every detail, every fake screenshot, every fake note, every fake accusation. It was all prepared, and my parents swallowed it completely. That night turned into the worst argument of my life. For nearly 2 hours, I begged them to listen, to check the evidence, to think logically. Instead, they called me jealous, selfish, dangerous. At one point, my mother actually said she felt unsafe with me in the house. That hurt more than anything, because no matter how badly they treated me, I still loved them. Then Dad stood up. He pointed toward the door. "Get out." The room went silent. I thought he was bluffing. He wasn't. "You heard me," he said. "If you're going to terrorize your brother, you don't belong here." I looked at Mom. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. I looked at Ethan. For a split second, I caught him smiling. Actually smiling. That's when I knew. This wasn't about money. This wasn't about texts. This wasn't about punishment. He wanted me gone. And he had finally succeeded. I packed a backpack, a few clothes, my work uniform, my school laptop, and that's all. As I reached the front door, I turned around one last time. Nobody stopped me. Nobody apologized. Nobody asked where I would sleep. Nobody cared. The door closed behind me. And just like that, I was homeless. 17 years old. Alone. Disowned by my own family. I sat on a bus stop bench that night, wondering how my life had fallen apart so quickly. What I didn't know then was that getting kicked out would end up being the best thing that ever happened to me. Because while my family was celebrating Ethan's victory, his entire world was already starting to collapse. And the truth was about to destroy everything. Part 2. midnight. I had nowhere to go, no plan, no backup. I kept checking my phone, hoping one of my parents would call. Maybe Mom would realize she made a mistake. Maybe Dad would cool off. Maybe someone would tell me to come home. Nobody called, not even a text. That was the moment reality finally hit me. I wasn't grounded. I wasn't being punished. I had actually been thrown away. I spent that night on a friend's couch. His name was Jake. We weren't even best friends, just classmates. But when I explained what happened, he didn't hesitate. His family let me stay. And that alone showed me more kindness than my own family had in years. The next morning, Jake's mother made breakfast. She placed a plate in front of me and simply said, "You don't have to explain everything today. Just eat." I almost cried because it had been years since an adult treated me with genuine care. Over the next few weeks, I focused on survival, school, work, sleep, repeat. I worked every shift I could get at the grocery store, sometimes 12-hour days on weekends, sometimes closing shifts after school. I was exhausted, but I finally had something I never had before: control over my own life. One evening, Mr. Carter called me into his office. He was the store manager, the same man who had watched me grow up over the years. "You've been working harder than anyone here," he said. I shrugged. "I need the money." He studied me for a moment. Then he asked something nobody in my family had asked. "Ryan, are you okay?" That question nearly broke me, because for weeks I had been pretending everything was fine. I finally told him the truth. Everything. The lies, the accusations, getting kicked out, the fake messages, the favoritism, all of it. When I finished, Mr. Carter looked furious, not at me, at what had happened. "You deserved better than that." Simple words, but they meant everything. A few days later, he offered me extra hours and a pay increase. Nothing huge, but enough to help. For the first time since being thrown out, I felt hope. Then something unexpected happened. My grades started improving. A lot. Without Ethan creating drama every day, without constant arguments, without walking on eggshells around my parents, I could actually focus. My teachers noticed. One counselor even pulled me aside. She had heard rumors that I was living away from home. At first, I denied it. Then eventually, I opened up. She connected me with resources, scholarship programs, housing assistance, career planning, people who genuinely wanted me to succeed. It felt strange. My entire life, I had been taught I was the problem. Now complete strangers were telling me I wasn't. Months passed. Slowly, things got better. Then 6 months later, I got accepted into a highly respected business internship program out of hundreds of applicants. I still remember staring at the acceptance email. I thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. The program director later told me my application stood out because of my resilience. That word stuck with me. Resilience. Nobody had ever described me that way before. Around that same time, I officially stopped checking my parents' social media, stopped reading messages from extended relatives, stopped wondering whether my family missed me. I focused on my future instead. And honestly, life became peaceful for the first time ever. Then, almost a year after being kicked out, I got my first message from home. Not from Mom, not from Dad, from Ethan, the golden child himself. The message was short. "Hope you're enjoying being alone." That was it. No apology, no explanation, just cruelty. I stared at it for a long time. Then I blocked his number and moved on. What I didn't know was that Ethan wasn't doing nearly as well as everyone thought, because while I was rebuilding my life, he was getting worse. Much worse. The lies that worked inside our house didn't work everywhere else. Teachers started catching him cheating. Friends started noticing inconsistencies. People stopped trusting him. And without me around to blame, the spotlight slowly started turning toward him. At first, my parents ignored the warning signs, just like always. A teacher accused Ethan of plagiarism. My parents defended him. A coach claimed Ethan forged paperwork. My parents defended him. A classmate accused him of stealing money. My parents defended him. Every single red flag was dismissed because admitting the truth would mean admitting they had been wrong about me. And my parents weren't ready for that. Then came the event that changed everything. Ethan started dating a girl named Madison. She was smart, confident, and unlike everyone else, she questioned things. When Ethan told stories, she noticed details changing. When he made accusations, she asked for proof. When he blamed other people, she checked the facts. For the first time in his life, someone wasn't blindly believing him. And Ethan hated it. Nobody realized it at the time, but Madison would eventually become the person who accidentally exposed everything. Meanwhile, my own life continued improving. I graduated near the top of my class. I received scholarship offers. I expanded my internship into a full-time opportunity. At 19 years old, I had my own apartment, my own car, my own future. Everything my family said I would never achieve. One evening, after finishing work, I sat alone in my apartment, looking around, thinking about how far I'd come. Just 2 years earlier, I had been sitting on a bus stop bench with nowhere to sleep. Now I was building a life I was proud of, and I had done it without them. That realization felt incredible. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally, I would ignore it. For some reason, I answered. The voice on the other end made my stomach drop. It was my mother, and she was crying. Not fake crying, real crying. The kind I'd never heard before. "Ryan," she whispered, "we need to talk." I felt every old wound reopen instantly. "What happened?" Several seconds passed. Then she said something that changed everything, something I never expected to hear. "Your brother lied." I froze. For years, I had imagined those words, dreamed about them, wondered if they would ever come. And now they were finally here. But the truth was even worse than I imagined, because Ethan hadn't just told one lie. He had built an entire life on them. And in less than a week, every single one was about to come crashing down. Part 3, the ultimate revenge and fallout. The moment my mother said those words, "Your brother lied," I knew something huge had happened. Not because Ethan lied. That wasn't news. The shocking part was that my parents had finally admitted it. For years, they defended him no matter what. So if they were calling me now, crying, something catastrophic must have happened. I stayed silent. Mom took a shaky breath. Then she said, "Can you come home?" That word felt strange. The place hadn't felt like home in years. "I don't live there anymore," I answered. More silence. Then she started crying again. "Please." For the first time in my life, I didn't immediately rush to make my parents feel better. Instead, I asked the question that mattered. What did Ethan do? And that's when everything started coming out. Apparently, Ethan's girlfriend, Madison, had discovered something unusual. Over several months, she noticed that almost every story Ethan told had holes in it. His achievements never seemed verifiable. His excuses never matched reality. His timelines constantly changed. At first, she thought he was exaggerating. Then she started checking. That decision destroyed his entire world. The first lie she uncovered was small. Ethan claimed he had received a prestigious academic award. He hadn't. Then she discovered he never received the scholarship he bragged about. Then she learned he had lied about volunteer work, then internships, then grades, then recommendations, then money. The deeper she dug, the worse it became. And Ethan made a critical mistake. He kept records, hundreds of fake documents, edited screenshots, forged emails, fabricated messages, entire folders full of lies. Madison found everything, every single thing. Most people would have broken up with him quietly. Madison didn't, because she eventually found something that involved me, something that made her furious. She found a folder labeled Ryan. Inside were years of fabricated evidence, fake screenshots, fake accusations, fake conversations, fake notes, fake records, everything he had used to convince people I was the bad guy, including the fake messages that got me kicked out. Madison immediately confronted him. At first, he denied everything. Then he blamed other people. Then he claimed it was a joke. Then he admitted enough of the truth to make things even worse. According to Mom, Ethan actually said, "Ryan always got sympathy. Somebody had to expose him." I laughed when I heard that, not because it was funny, because it was insane. Sympathy? I spent years being blamed for his actions, but Ethan had convinced himself he was the victim. That seemed to be the story he told himself. Then came the event that changed everything. Madison didn't keep the evidence private. She brought it directly to my parents. And she brought proof. A lot of proof. Digital files, metadata, original documents, backup records, cloud storage logs, timestamps, everything. Things Ethan couldn't explain away. Things he couldn't cry his way out of. Things he couldn't blame on me. For the first time in his life, there was nowhere to hide. Mom told me Dad spent nearly 6 hours reviewing everything. By the end, he looked physically sick because the evidence showed something horrifying. The lies weren't occasional. They were constant. Years of manipulation, years of deception, years of destroying relationships, years of turning family members against each other. And the worst victim was me, the son they threw away, the son they never believed, the son who had been telling the truth the entire time. I expected to feel satisfied hearing all this. Instead, I mostly felt tired, because none of it gave me back what I lost. None of it erased those nights wondering why my own parents didn't love me enough to listen. None of it changed the past. A week later, things got even crazier. My aunt called, then my uncle, then cousins. Apparently, news was spreading through the family faster than wildfire. Everyone was learning the truth, and Ethan was panicking, desperately, because once people started checking his stories, more lies appeared. Former classmates came forward, teachers came forward, friends came forward, even old neighbors came forward. Suddenly, people realized they had all experienced the same thing. Ethan would create drama, manipulate situations, tell different stories to different people, then sit back and watch everyone fight. The pattern was everywhere. Once people recognized it, they couldn't unsee it. Then came the family reunion. And this is where everything completely exploded. Every year, my extended family gathered for a large summer celebration. Normally, I skipped it. This year was different because everybody knew the truth now, and everyone wanted answers. I almost didn't attend. Then curiosity got the better of me, so I went. The moment I arrived, the atmosphere felt wrong. People weren't laughing. Nobody was acting normal. Groups stood around whispering. Conversation stopped when certain people walked by. The tension was unbelievable. Then I saw Ethan for the first time in years. He looked terrible. Dark circles, nervous movements, constantly checking who was looking at him. The confidence was gone. The arrogance was gone. The golden child mask had completely fallen apart, and for the first time in his life, people weren't buying the performance. Then the confrontation started. Not because of me, because of our relatives. My uncle stood up first. He asked Ethan directly about forged documents. Ethan denied it. Then my aunt produced printed evidence. Silence. A cousin asked about stolen money. Ethan denied it. Then another relative showed records. Silence. Someone asked about fake scholarship claims. More proof appeared, more silence. One after another, question after question, lie after lie, evidence after evidence. It felt less like a family gathering and more like a courtroom, and Ethan was losing badly. Then Madison arrived, carrying a folder. The one containing everything. The room went completely quiet. Nobody interrupted, nobody spoke. Madison calmly explained what she found. The fake screenshots, the fabricated accusations, the manipulation, the forged records, the years of deception. Then she placed one specific document on the table, the fake messages that got me kicked out, the exact messages, the same ones my parents used as justification to throw me away. Except now there was proof they were manufactured, created on Ethan's computer, modified repeatedly, saved multiple times, backed up online, impossible to deny. My mother's face immediately collapsed. My father looked like someone punched him in the stomach. And Ethan, he finally broke. Not emotionally, strategically, because he realized the game was over. There was nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide, no new lie available, no scapegoat available, no Ryan available. For years, whenever something went wrong, he pointed at me. This time, I wasn't there to absorb the blame, so all the consequences landed exactly where they belonged, on him, and his entire world came crashing down, right in front of everyone. The golden child had finally been exposed, but the most important moment of the entire night hadn't happened yet, because after years of refusing to believe me, my parents were about to face me directly, and they were about to ask for something they had absolutely no right to ask. End of part 3. Part 4. The confrontation and closure. After Madison finished speaking, the room was completely silent. Nobody knew what to say. For years, my family had built their entire reality around Ethan's version of events. Now that reality had shattered, and all that remained was the truth. I sat quietly near the back of the room. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't celebrating. Honestly, I felt numb, because while everyone else was discovering the truth for the first time, I had been living with it for years. Then my father stood up, slowly, like a man carrying a weight he could barely hold. For a moment, I thought he was going to yell or defend Ethan again. Instead, he looked directly at me and said words I never thought I'd hear. "Ryan, I'm sorry." The room froze. My father wasn't the kind of man who apologized. Ever. Growing up, I could count on one hand the number of times he admitted being wrong. Now he fallout continued. Relationships ended. Opportunities disappeared. People stopped believing him. Not because anyone ruined his life, because eventually every lie reaches its expiration date. And when the truth finally arrives, the bill comes due. My parents spent years trying to repair the damage. Sometimes they sent letters, sometimes birthday cards, sometimes apologies. I read everyone, and slowly over time, I stopped feeling angry, but I never forgot, because forgiveness and forgetting are not the same thing. Today, I'm 26 years old. I have a career, a home, friends who became family, a life I built myself. Sometimes people ask whether I regret walking away. The answer is always the same: no, because getting kicked out felt like the end of my life. But in reality, it was the beginning. The moment I stopped fighting to be loved by people who refused to love me correctly, I found people who did, and that changed everything. So if you're listening to this story while dealing with toxic family members, remember this: being related to someone does not give them the right to destroy your peace. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is close the door and never look back. I didn't forgive them. I didn't go back. I built the life they said I'd never have, and that's all the closure I needed. So tell me, did I do the right thing by walking away?